Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Project Live week 19 and today I am using the brand new Craving Life Crafted kit from Citrus Twist. Now I'm gonna be honest, this is a kit that is totally up my alley. Apart from the fact that like May's kit went missing, I totally squealed with delight when I saw the June kit, well, one, turn up on my doorstep. That was a squeal. And then when I saw the kit, the colors in the kit, the stamp sets, the cards, the florals, there was a lot of squealing going on. This is a really gorgeous, gorgeous kit. So I'm starting with my photos like normal, and I have picked out a couple of my favorite 3x4 cards. I purposefully only printed 2 3x4 photos this week because I knew there were a lot of cards that I wanted to use, and so I left those spots open for that very purpose. I used one of the 4x6s for my title card, and then I've just trimmed down one of the many gorgeous pattern papers in the kit for my last spot down the bottom. Now, there are a ton of embellishments in this kit. I'm going to start by going through the ephemera pack. As always, you can see there are a billion little die cuts in here. I often just pull out a little tray or a little plate like this so that I can go through the entire pack and pull out ones that I think might work. They're not necessarily always going to end up on a spread, but it's easier to make that sort of design decisions using a smaller selection rather than trying to go through the many die cuts in the pack. So I've pulled out a little smaller selection, and that way I can just sort of lay them out and work out whether those are going to fit. Now I can already tell you, spoiler alert, that a lot of these won't make it on there, but at least I've got them there and I can make those decisions as I go. Now the bottom 4x6 photo is of me the first time I was experimenting with a little bit of jelly printing. That just happened to also be the day that I was watching Tina from Love Life Papers YouTube channel, and she had a tutorial for making a little zine, and so I actually made a little zine along with her video, and I wanted to include that into my Project Life album with this week, and so that's what I've just tucked under their 4x6 photo for now. I want to find a way to put that in the pocket. It's not going to have a pocket of its own, so I want to be able to see that it's in there. So I just used a little circle punch. I don't have a thumb notch punch, but you don't actually need that. I just flip the punch over so I can see how much of the circle I'm actually taking out, and just punch that out of my photo, and then you can see my little zine in there underneath it as a reminder that there is something in there to pull out if I want to. It may well flap about in that pocket. I'm not going to secure it in any way, but I think just having that thumb notch stuck out of there will make it easy to remember that it's there. I created a tiny cluster to include the actual notch just by adding a die cut, which I stitched with my sewing machine just to add a little bit of texture on there, and then added a chipboard piece, but I did pull off some of the chipboard and just glue that down with some wet adhesive because I know that that pocket's already going to be quite thick having the zine in there, and so I didn't want to add a really thick chipboard piece to it. Now surprisingly, this is going to be the first and only time that I use the stamp set on this actual spread. There are some amazing stamp sets in the Citrus Twist shop at the moment this month, so do go and check those out. There's a couple of really great alphas as well. I'm trying to resist. But what I did was just use 3 tiny little sentiments from that stamp set to kind of go with the sentiments that are already printed on the card. So it's really light, so it's hard to see there, but for example, it says loving, and then I stamped me time on there. So I just stamped phrases to match my photos and the sort of things that I was craving that week. Now for my photo here with the little craving sentiment, they're all individual letters, so I am going to add just a tiny bit of glue from my glue pen. I get tired of trying to lift those off the photos though, so I do go and grab my tweezers. I kind of have to squish them up a little bit to make sure they fit on this 3x4 photo, but the reason I'm only adding a tiny little bit of glue, which also makes it easier to shuffle them around, is again I'm going to use my sewing machine and stitch those down. Just make sure that they're going to be stuck down, but also again adding that little bit of texture and just a little bit of detail to draw the eye to the photo. Another thing that I love in this kit is all of the purple. I'm such a lavender fan, and these little lavender tiny word stickers are so gorgeous. I definitely wanted to make sure I got a few of those on there. As you can see, a whole sheet of them. It takes me ages to pick out like phrases that I love to suit my photos. I've just really simply stuck one on the photo of my coffee, and you can see I've been sort of playing around with that top photo up there, just adding bits and pieces as I find them. But instead of working on that card, I'm actually going to do my title card first, just because it's sitting up there, it's looking a little bit kind of odd and plain, and so I want to get that done before I keep adding too much more else to the spread. I want to add a little bit of color into here. It's a very yellow card. There are only 2 4x6 cards in the kit, and neither of the other ones really worked, but I loved the sort of yellow lemons on this card. It's got absolutely nothing to do with my spread or any of the photos on my spread, but I just really loved it. Plus I think the design works really nicely for a title card like this. So I'm just going to use the kind of, I guess it's a label, the spot that's already printed on the card. I'm going to use that as a shelf for my title and just pop on these really cute little pink, they're almost kind of peachy, puffy sticker letters with numbers. Yay! I'm going to add that as my title, and then I was very glad that I didn't just go ahead and stick that label down to start off with, because that's what I was going to do and it would not have been in the right place. I've glued that down and I'm going to do my date stamping onto that label. Now I had originally trimmed out a lighter teal one because that was sort of the color that I liked for this spread, but it definitely wasn't big enough for my actual date stamping, and when I held it against the yellow it didn't really work, so that's why I trimmed out that darker one, which actually works nicely to sort of really anchor that date stamping on my title card. And never fear, this the lighter aqua one definitely didn't go to waste. I decided to get rid of the red starburst that was up there. That definitely did not work with any of the colors on the spread, and I just replaced it with that aqua colored label, a couple of tiny words. One is the phrases, the lavender phrase sticker, and one came out of that die cut pack. And then I'm just going to finish off the cluster with a little yellow puffy sticker. Now because I've added 2 labels, I definitely want to add a third, especially since both of those labels are at the top of my spread. So I'm going to balance that out by adding one down the bottom as well. And as far as balance goes, I'm also going to use the yellow, it's kind of a khaki colored yellow, but down the bottom again to tie that all together, so I've got like little spots of yellow throughout the spread. I'm going to do that same kind of recipe. This time I've got a puffy sticker and one of those tiny phrase stickers, and I'm just layering them onto the label before I tuck that underneath my photo and glue everything down. The camera did cut out there, but you haven't missed anything. I did actually hear it stop this time. There's a lot of kind of subtle color in this spread, and I feel like that cluster on my jelly printing photo is just a little bit kind of black and white. I want to add some more color to it, despite the fact that the photo's pretty colorful. I sort of played around with puffy stickers, but the ones I have left are not really the right kind of color to stand out on there. So instead, I'm going to add another one of these little lavender phrase stickers, and then all I have left to do is to add my journaling to this journaling card. Now I did want to add that little die cut to the bottom here, so I just roughly drew a pencil line around the outside of it so I knew where to type as I ran this through my typewriter, so then I can stick the die cut down. And the last thing I decided to do before I finished the spread was just add some stitching to my title card, again for consistency, and it gives me those 3 points of stitching. And that's it, that's this page all done. This is a gorgeous kit, so if you aren't already a subscriber, I will leave the link for you in the description box. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there are a couple more videos on screen. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye guys.